Are you Kirsten Hiller?
Yeah, but I don't know why you want to talk to me.
The guy tries to feel you up. You slap him. Words are exchanged. He's found dead a few minutes later with his nuts cut off. What should I think?
He was a pervert and a drug addict, and somebody killed him. Isn't that the spirit of Christmas?
No, it's not.
Everything is ready, my darling. Do not be afraid. And we'll be together again.
L-O-L-I-P-O-P spells lollipop.
This sandwich tastes as dry as hell.
And you're not just a funny guy. You're a lame brain, too.
This is all the whiskey you possess?
You should believe in ghosts, P-Brain.
He's a closet! He's a closet!
He's a closet!
Go! Double check that I'm recording. Hooray, I am. Got my coffee here.
Alright, do your best elf impression.
The three food groups are candy, candy corn, candy canes, and syrup.
That doesn't sound anything like an elf.
You mean Will Ferrell's elf?
No, I mean the elves from this movie.
Oh. Zieg Heil. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
How about you? What's yours?
No, that was it. You just gotta go like...
Folks, welcome to Hello, This is the Doom Show's Christmas edition. It's like new edition, but with more Christmas and less our R&B singing. I am Richard. I am joined with a very special co-host this evening. I am talking to the man who knows when you're being naughty, the man who knows when you're being nice, the man who likes it when you lick his peppermint stick. Of course, I'm talking about Santa's number one, very not elfish helper, Jeffrey. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hello, Richard.
How'd I do?
I think that was an accurate description, but...
Cool. I'll take a 6 out of 50. We are talking about Jeffrey's pick, and I'm very emotional that he picked it. He picked Elf, starring Will Ferrell. No, he picked Elves from 1989, a production of fun directed by Jeffrey Mandel. No relation to Howie?
Prove it.
Oh, I can't prove it.
Well, then I guess we have to assume it's true.
He could be Howie's Howard, whatever that means. This is definitely a movie, a Christmas horror movie that follows a very interesting trend with Christmas horror movies, which we'll talk about at the end. I'll let you ponder that for a moment. So, real quick, is it snowing where you are, Jeffrey?
It is not snowing. I really hope it does snow, though. That would really make everything complete.
Nice.
I'm just going to keep on mentioning throughout the podcast how I really hope it snows at some point.
Well, I hope it snows here as well. Oh, wait. This is Florida. We don't do that.
Oh.
Enough weather talking. I hope it snows on you, too. I found a fantastic trailer for Elves. I'm going to play it right now. It gives you the whole movie. We don't even have to talk about it. It's such a complete picture of the film. Go.
AIP Home Video. An innocent romp in the woods turns into a hellish nightmare when an evil force is accidentally awakened. Action International Pictures presents the gruesome holiday shocker, Elves. They're not working for Santa anymore.
I had a rough day at work. Santa got murdered.
Their mission, to mate with a virgin and conquer the world as a pint-sized master race.
I'm saving it for someone special.
Dan Haggerty stars as Mike McGavin, an ex-detective working on hard times.
First you send and then you die.
She is the most important person on Earth. From her will grow the new order.
Santa must expose this unholy force before the elves destroy Christmas.
Jesus Christ.
Elves. They're not working for Santa anymore.
Elves, they'll get you in the ass.
There was the trailer for the film. I have here in front of me on my screen because, of course, I still don't collect VHS tapes. I'm a fool. But this is the AIP Studios.
AIP Home Video.
Which I found out that the A is for action.
Uh-huh.
AIP Home Video.
Which is amazing, because this movie has lots of action.
It's Action International Pictures, right?
Yes, yes.
AIP Home Video.
10726 McCune Avenue, Los Angeles, California, 90034. 1-800-456-API-1.
AIP Home Video.
Call them like they're a lawyer.
Yes.
Make
Call
a
them
jingle
for,
out of that. Yeah.
They'll get you a grizzly bear to help you. A grizzly man. Here is the...
AIP Home Video.
Here's the plot synopsis from this very VHS. An innocent romp in the woods turns into a hellish nightmare when 3 young girls accidentally awaken an army of evil, quote-unquote elves, quote-unquote army, they should have done, genetically created by a neo-Nazi mad scientist during World War II, which would make him a Nazi, not a neo-Nazi. These hideous creatures don't work for Santa, ... There's only one creature, just kidding. They have a special mission, to mate with a virgin and take over the world as a pint-sized master race.
AIP Home Video.
Dan Haggerty, Grizzly Adams, stars as Mike McGavin, a department store Santa who must expose this unholy force and stop the gruesome terror before the elves destroy Christmas.
Damn. All right, so my mind just got blown a little bit when you said something, because I just realized there's only one elf in this movie.
Yeah.
But it's called Elves. I think we're supposed to think there are more than one, but it's definitely just one.
Yep, definitely just one.
You never see more than just one. Oh, man.
There's a tagline on the VHS here that says,
"And all through the town, bloodthirsty elves are about to get down.
Bloodthirsty elf.
Elf?
And actually, it's more like finger thirsty, for being honest.
Oh, God, yes.
All right, so here's my thought. Elves are the new ghoulies. How do you feel about that?
I could see that if there was more than one elf. The new ghoulie.
Well, yeah, I mean, so... okay. But think about, I mean, even in like Ghoulies 2, you've got like the big ghoulie at the end. Maybe this is just like a big elf.
Oh, I get you. Maybe he's like a distant cousin of a ghoulie and a munchie.
Actually, you know what? It doesn't even matter if this movie's called Elves, because there's not even like a single elf in this picture. It's all gremlins and trolls and ninjas, right? Throughout this movie, the elves are constantly misidentified as either trolls or ninjas. There's a scene late in the movie where Haggerty is talking to Grandpa, who is like behind the whole elf thing, and Haggerty's like, "It was a troll, just like Kirsten said." And Grandpa kind of pauses for a second. He's like, "Are you sure you don't mean an elf? I think it's an elf." All right, but so I call them ghoulies because, I mean, somehow they're like even less mobile and plastic than the ghoulies were.
Yes, they have I keep saying they.
They.
Elf here,
Elf.
he has like one thing that he does. He has like one thing, which is his face seems to scream a little more. It's always in a screaming face. Like it's like, oh!
He's a permanent Kevin McAllister face, yes.
Oh, yes, he is home alone?
Well, so what does he look like to you?
Okay, this elf looks like if you Okay, I almost laughed at my own joke. This is not going to be that funny. He looks like if you microwaved Gary Busey, but like young Gary Busey, and you made him too small, so you grabbed the top of his head and his feet, and you stretched him out to get this elf. That's what he looks like to me.
Or like Gary Busey, like mid American Werewolf transformation. That would be good too. Yours is better than mine. I thought that he kind of looked like Peter Cushing walked into a telepod with a fruit bat.
What? But way more fuckable.
Cushing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad I said that out loud. And it was recorded, presumably.
Yep. And once it's put on tape, it's forever.
That's right. That's right. Before we go any farther, let's talk about the 3 important people in this movie. And they're not on screen, Jeffrey. They're the 3 people who edited this movie.
All right. So why are you...
why did this have 3 editors? That's not good.
I think 2 of them were students. This was like their, this is their internship.
Oh my God. Okay, so there's a theme here going. So far, I looked up all the producers and everything. I looked up all these people, and I just clicked on one of the editors by accident. Well, maybe on purpose. I don't know. I can't tell. It's the Christmas spirit. They all worked on a film called Laser Moon.
Laser Moon? I don't know that.
Starring good old Tracy Lords, post-porn actress. Post-porn. Is that like post-rock?
Yeah, a lot of noodling.
This film called Laser Moon from 1993, a radio DJ helps 2 police detectives hunt down a serial killer who kills women using a surgical laser instrument during every full moon and who makes taunting phone calls to the radio station.
Okay.
That's awesome. And Tracy Lords plays Barbara Fleck. Oh, I forgot to mention this earlier. I'll edit this in later. AIP
Home Video.
This video company, I was looking up their stuff, and I found they put out an anthology film called Terror Eyes, which looks hilarious.
Not Night School, a different...
No, it's not the alternate title. It's a film released the same year as Elves called Terror Eyes.
Interesting.
And the cover art for the VHS tape is hilarious.
All right, put it up on screen now.
There you go. Oh, boom. Oh, wait, is this a video show?
It's a podcast. They have video, right?
Use your imaginations, everyone.
It's the theater of the mind.
Oh, is that what this film is? A theater of the neo-Nazi mind, who's just a Nazi?
They put it right up there on screen for us.
All this shenanigans get started because of the Sisters of Anti-Christmas.
Yeah, they're my new band.
Oh yes. Oh man.
They start off with the best name. Like, Sisters of Anti-Christmas is like their perfect band name. But then they keep on coming up with new ones that aren't as good. Like, the Unholy Trio is one. And then Blood Sisters, which Roberta Finlay jumps up and says, "Hey, that one's mine."
Man, that is hers. That's all hers.
And then, Masters Without Slaves.
Masters Without Slaves. And then, okay, so you've got your lead girl, Kirsten, who's played by Julie Austin, and then you have her buddies, Amy, and her buddy, Brooke? Yeah, Brooke. Amy is the girl who's obsessed with penises, and she has an amazing transformation sequence into a comic book hero named Longerina.
Oh.
Her secret power is desperation, and I love Amy, she's so great, but Brooke is the dummy. Brooke is real stupid, and she's like, she doesn't get the Masters with No Slaves things at all.
Oh yeah, and Kirsten has to explain it. I mean,
I'm not sure I get it.
Kirsten does not know about that she is like the the receptacle for the master race. But she certainly does like spout out a lot of like she's like fingering the borders. Fingering is a very important idea in this movie. Yes. Fingering the borders of like some real Nazi shit. Like she's testing the waters, fingering the borders.
Oh God. I like when she's taking a shower after getting really stressed out and she's just in the shower rubbing her temples. I was like, what? Is that... She just got dirty temples? I don't know what that means.
Richard, that's how you take showers. Have you never taken a shower before?
My temples are filthy.
Did you never learn how to take a shower? Pathetic.
Nope. No, I sure didn't. But yeah, while they're doing their little magic, which is going to awaken this little Nazi elf here, there's so much wonderful dialogue while they're talking about what they're trying to do there and their little prayers for anti-Christmas. They're talking about some guy named Dave's penis. His bent Yule log. And then Kirsten says, like, we're going to be the next master race.
Yeah. Well, girls are the master race.
I'm not going to lie and say I don't know that, because I know that.
Yeah, it's true.
I've met girls.
Now, do you think that Jeffrey Mandel and... Who is the writer of this? There was a different writer. He, like, worked on the script, but he wasn't the...
Mike Griffin.
Mike Griffin. Do you think, like, what did they mean? Did they mean, like, yeah, girls are better? Or were they like, yeah, girls are Nazis? What do you think? What do you think it was?
I think they were misguided, but eventually right, because the Spice Girls
are the master race.
Yes. There's actually a Christmas song called All I Want for Christmas is a Spice Girl. It's not dated at all.
Yeah, I didn't know that one.
It's still relevant. It's on our Christmas mix. It's pretty great.
We now convene the Sisters of Anti-Christmas.
Sisters? What is this, a script?
We bemoan Christmas as a petty, over-commercialized media event. What's bemoan?
Means I didn't get any good presents last year.
Well, I can totally relate to that.
Besides, it doesn't even look like it's gonna snow.
You guys, I thought you were gonna help me figure out how to get Dave.
Oh, come on, his is bent anyway.
We are, Amy, but why just figure out Dave? We should figure out everything. We're girls, remember? We're the master race.
Killer.
We could control everything and everyone. So we just have to have a bond, like a secret that the rest of the world will never know.
Ew. What do you mean?
What's this?
It's our symbol, the Virgin of Anti-Christmas.
Virgin? Ew.
I dreamed those Art Deco boobs. Cool, huh?
Oh, no. Isn't this your grandfather's book?
Yeah, he also told me never to come out here.
Oh, Roy will bust if he finds out.
Hey, the candle.
This home life that Kristen has to come home to is very interesting. She's got a pervy little brother named Willie. And he likes to spy on her in the shower. And it's her fault for having big tits. And he's going to tell everybody that he saw them.
Yeah, you should just put the dialogue in.
I will. I absolutely will.
You pervert! I'm not a pervert. I like seeing naked girls.
I'm your fucking sister!
Yeah, and you've got fucking big tits, and I'm going to tell everybody I saw them.
Get out of here! You're not supposed to be in here without my permission.
Yeah, well, fuck you. Mom says she's giving me all your money, so fuck you.
But he gets beaten by her, or just jostled. I don't know. There's a lot of abuse here. But she is being abused by her grandfather. You know, she comes home late after worshiping anti-Christmas, which I guess is Flag Day.
And showing off her art. Don't forget that.
Yes. Oh my God, the art is the key here.
She dreamed some Art Deco boobs, as she told me.
Oh my God, this is so good. So her grandfather, he's yelling at her. He's like, "Why are you outside? Why do you leave the house?" And that's my voice for him. And he smacks her around, and then she gets frickin' chewed out by her stepmom as well.
Oh, that's not her that's her regular mother.
Well, no, but she calls her a stepmother until the reveal.
What? But that doesn't make any sense.
I swear she called her stepmom.
That's crazy then.
Yep, I wrote it down. I went back and wrote back that she was the stepmom. But it's all revealed. I know.
Okay, that can't be true.
All I know is what I heard them say.
But she doesn't know who her father is. Like, she's never had a father figure in her life, so how does she have a stepmother?
Maybe she said she's like a wicked stepmother, and I misheard it, but I swear.
Or she's like, step to it, mother.
Mother. This actress is Deanna Lund, and she is still alive and still working.
That's not true. I saw her die.
Oh, in this movie?
No, she's dead.
You do know this is...
Fried to her
This is a documentary.
Yeah, well, yeah, duh. What do you think? Dan Haggerty's been up to since the Grizzly Adams days? This is it.
Are you talking about Deanna Lund or Haggerty?
No, I'm saying it's a documentary about his life. And Deanna Lund just happened to star in it for a little while.
Oh, okay, gotcha. She was his leading lady.
Well, she is the true abuser here of the bunch.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
At least seems to be early on. She does some real wicked stuff. She threatens to close out Kirsten's savings account and apparently promise all the money to her pervert Ninja Turtle brother, Willie.
That's the best.
She also threatens to and then does kill Kirsten's cat, Agamemnon.
She drowns the cat in the toilet. And I wrote, what a fucking horrible scene.
She later admits it to Grandpa. She says, I did kill that damn cat, but the raccoon killed the deputy.
You know what would have been great? If they'd had this really realistic scene where the grandfather immediately reported her for animal abuse, and then she got fucking arrested.
Well, unfortunately, nobody in this movie, in this family in particular, knows the number to 911. There's a scene where the mother actually calls the operator to find that number, and she's like,
"Oh my god,
911? Okay, thanks.
Gotta go." No, but Deanna Lund was in a couple of Italian horror films. Are they horror? Well, Superstition 2, directed by Alessandro Capone, might just end up on this show one of these days. It's a sequel to 1982's Superstition, but I think it's a sequel in name only.
Yeah.
And she was in something called Hammerhead, directed by the one, the only Enzo G. Castellari. But yeah, she's kind of evil in this movie.
I think she's just misunderstood.
Ooh. All cat murderers are.
She hates Kirsten. We don't know why until we do know why.
Oh, yes.
She's a real weird lady. Like, in her final scene, she has that really tortured lipstick application and is bathing to, is it like Ode to Joy? What the hell is that song?
Yeah, it was totally Ode to
Okay.
Joy. So what year was, what was that movie? What was that David Lynch one?
You mean Wild at Heart?
Yeah, what year was that? Was that
91?
Okay. So that movie stole the lipstick scene right there. Man, David Lynch, you got something to say for answer. Words.
I'm a big fan of the elves. I would like to know where these elves get off ruining Christmas. Do you think elves like coffee?
Oh my god. We gotta do this. I'll do a filter so that it sounds like you're coming through a loudspeaker or through the phone, like on Twin Peaks.
Please.
Let's go ahead and talk about the grizzly man in the room, Dan Haggerty.
I call him, in this movie, in my notes, I referred to him throughout as Hard Times Haggerty.
Oh my god. I was thinking that he played Gentle Ben, but Gentle Ben was actually a bear on his own show. So I was calling him Genital Ben in reference to my friend, our good friend Nafa's favorite band name he never used, called Genital Ben. So I kept calling him Genital Ben all through my notes. Then I looked up and I was like, "Oh, he was Grizzly Adams." That's not funny.
Mistaking Dan Haggerty for a bear seems reasonable.
One of his final roles that he played was Yahweh in a film called 40 Nights, which is kind of Christmassy.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Mike McGavin is a down on his luck alcoholic who needs a job, not donuts.
Oh God, get those donuts out of here.
He spouts out a lot of good lines, like a pack a day keeps your lungs nice and gray. He's the sort of guy who accidentally locks himself out of his own trailer and then goes and sleeps in a department store that he also works at. He has a dead dog named Pea Shooter. And apparently he used to be a detective.
Oh, okay. So here's what I love about Dan Haggerty. And we've encountered this before. There are pioneers of the mumblecore acting movement. And not only does Dan Haggerty mumble most of his lines for this film, he also encourages other actors he's interacting with in certain scenes to also mumble back at him. So a lot of this just comes off as total gibberish. Oh, it's so good.
He is very great in this movie.
Yes.
Oh boy. He ends up becoming a department store Santa. But also like a self-described store detective. Like he's never paid to be a detective. He just like, he can't help scratching that itch.
Nope.
But he has no friends, cause even his dog is dead. So he talks to a chalk outline of the previous Santa who died. Let's talk about that Santa, I guess.
The first Santa, was a naughty Santa. Especially when Kirsten decided to have a little fun and give him some grief. So Kirsten gets in line. For her lunch break at work, where she works at the cafeteria in this place, she gets in line, sits on Santa's lap, and he immediately shoves his hand up her skirt and starts talking about oral, which I wrote down, oral hygiene? Oral Roberts? We'll never know because she slapped him and ran away.
You know, talk about another way this movie was ripped off. We got the OG Bad Santa here.
Oh, God, this is so much better than Bad Santa.
He immediately goes into the back room and starts smoking coke, snorting coke, and his beard, all throughout his scenes in the movie, his beard looks like it's stuck on his face like a cobweb. Like he's constantly brushing it out of his face.
Yes, it's like the beard is glued to his chin and not his upper lip, so the kids are either really stupid or really desperate to talk to Santa, and they don't notice that his beard is flipping flopping all over his face and not actually attached to his face.
Well, someone really anxious to talk to this Santa is an elf, the elf, who comes in and murders his genitals.
He pulls a real don't open till Christmas and murders the fuck out of this Santa.
Now, here's the thing.
So good.
How does killing Bad Santa's crotch have anything to do with achieving the goal of racial purity and world domination?
Maybe that guy, the Santa, was, I don't know, like an impure race, like a Canadian.
I don't think there's any. This is a very American film.
And what do you want for Christmas, little girl?
For it not to be Christmas.
Why?
I hate snow. Can you make it snow?
Oral.
What?
Santa said oral.
Well, so after this Santa Claus is murdered and his body is discovered, we have this happens at a department store named, I think it's called Golems.
What?
Where you can go to buy, all your precious goods. Golems.
Oh.
Anyway, the owner of the store, the manager, I guess, he has this line where he says, "Nothing like this has happened at Golems in 50 years," which kind of like implies that this happened once before. Like, we haven't had a genital murdered Santa Claus in 50 years.
50 years without an incident. I love it. Oh my God. It's so good. That's such a great throwaway line. That's...
I guess it's worth saying that, like, this movie knows it's funny.
Yes. It just has no way of delivering these jokes as jokes.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's not too skilled at that. But I think it was intended to be.
Oh, man, real quick. Did you notice the cat's name?
Yeah, it's Agamemnon the cat.
Agamemnon the cat. Okay, Jeffrey.
So
pull a good Agamemnon joke out of your brain real quick. Go.
I mean, well, kind of like Agamemnon, he was killed. This cat was killed in the bathroom.
Ooh. Do you think that they grabbed the cat and like shoved its face in clay to get a death mask of it?
No.
Like the death mask of Agamemnon?
No, it was shoved in the toilet. His face was shoved in the toilet.
What if the toilet was filled with clay? Then it wouldn't have drowned it. Wait, if a golem poops in the toilet, then the toilet's full of clay.
Actually, honestly surprised that the elf was not referred to as a golem. It was a fucking little ninja golem.
The little brother gets assaulted in his bed by the good old elf,
Damn.
which I assume means that this kid is also a receptacle for Nazi DNA.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have to talk about it, but I have no idea how this child exists.
Exactly. We'll get to that when we get to all the wonderful reveal. Yeah. But he totally calls it a ninja. He's like, I think it was a ninja or a troll. Or something
he calls it
a ninja turtle.
What's his exact line? I wrote it down. It was, where is it? It was a fucking little ninja troll, is what he says to his mother.
Oh, doctor. That's so
all right, Agamemnon the cat. We got to talk about that a little bit more because Agamemnon the cat is Kirsten's only friend, as she tells us.
She tells us in that exact way. You're my only friend.
A friend that she apparently didn't know very well because she didn't realize that Agamemnon was a female cat until Agamemnon had a litter.
Nice.
Basically, I think Agamemnon the cat is our window into Kirsten's personal life. She does have friends, but she's not very well liked by seemingly anybody.
Oh, no.
The teen boys who very briefly are in the movie, before they sort of self-actualize and realize that they're just really horny because of hormones and then depart the movie. They describe her very briefly by just saying, Kristen, she's weird.
Oh man.
Her major pastime, she's a waitress within a cafe in the department store, I guess. Yeah, and the highlight of her day is going to goof on the department store Santa Claus. She actually says, quote, I've been waiting for this all day.
She should have said all year. That would have been even better.
She's the sort of girl who her own family repeatedly refers to her as a receptacle. So, she ain't much of a person.
It's so wrong on so many levels.
And again, she has these weird leanings towards some real Nazi shit, despite not recognizing that she is the carrier, at least in part, of the Nazi seed.
One of the things that's really important is her sketchbook, where she has this dream and sketches this vision from her dream, which is this woman, a beautiful, powerful woman with large breasts, that has these weird markings all over them.
Which will come in
which will come into play later when they draw swastikas on her boobs.
Yep.
Which is somehow meaningful to her Nazi grandfather.
She's like, that looks just like my birthmark.
Oh my god. So freaking good.
One other thing about Golem's the department store. Well, I guess two other things. So one, do you think that an elf attacking Golem's department store is like a Fantastic Beast throwdown?
Like a cryptid?
Well, no, because a golem and an elf, you can find both of those in Lord of the Rings, right?
Precious joke there.
So it's provocation, right? 2, outside of the department store, they have a live orchestra playing that sounds like they're playing synth Christmas tunes. It's almost MIDI level. It's so weird.
I love it. That's so good. The four horny men who are just playing their synthesizers that are shiny and look just like real horns. Speaking of this department store, we have a very initiation kind of a situation with some people sneaking into a department store at night.
I know, this is a department store slasher.
Yes.
With Hide and Go Shriek, Initiation, Chopping Mall, falls in that.
There's way too much door tape shenanigans in this movie where they're taping the lock on the door with some masking tape so that the door won't be able to be locked. And good old Grizzly Adams, or Genital Ben, as I kept calling him in my notes, is pulling the cord on the alarm, which is hilarious that to disable the alarm, you just rip the cord out of it, which is great. And then the girls undo the tape, and then he redoes the tape, and then the tape gets done, and da-da-da-da.
Yeah, it's riveting stuff.
There's so many scenes in this movie that are such filler.
It's a pretty brief movie, though.
So you got this, and then you got the whole going to different professors to get information, and then going to the library to get information scenes. Oh, it's so funny.
Speaking of Haggerty during these scenes and like all of his tenure at the department store as a department store Santa, it's really sad. He gets hired only because the other Santa Claus is murdered. And his first day on the job, he gets pissed on, which we see. He then goes back to talk to Eddie, which is the chalk outline of the prior Santa. Which also, a chalk outline implies that the person was still alive when their body was moved. So he survived that genital violence only to die in the hospital. Poor Eddie.
He went out just like old pea shooter.
That's how pea shooter died. Oh, it was a spaying accident, or is it? No, it's neutering accident.
That's.
So Hard Times Haggerty talks to Eddie. He has a great line where he says, "Life's a bitch, Eddie. First you're Santa, then you die.
Yes.
In my case, they piss on you."
That's
but
so good.
He says, he doesn't have to worry about anything because he's not a detective anymore. He's Santa, and all he's got to do is take care of his reindeer. I think that he actually thinks he's become Santa Claus now. Like he's the real Santa Claus. Like
he starts answering to it.
He's Tim Allening it. And the thing is, during these nighttime department store scenes where he runs into the three girls having their party, they treat him like he's actually Santa Claus.
Yes.
Like they refer to him as such.
There's a great mistake in that scene where, so the girls are doing makeup and being silly. Grizzly Adams discovers them and he's like looking at them from this balcony above the counter where they're at. And so he's like, God, these girls, what are they doing here? So he goes back to like catch them in the act. The shot is from behind the girls looking up at the balcony and you can hear his footsteps as he's walking away, which means the girls would have been able to hear his footsteps. I love that. I'm like, are they deaf? What are they doing?
They're busy.
Everything else in this movie was completely realistic to me. That one scene pissed me off, took me out of the movie, whatever.
Yeah, you know what it was? It was the reindeer's hooves on the rooftop. So they were just like, oh, that's what that is.
It was definitely Blitzen because that's the German reindeer. The Nazi reindeer.
Blitzen!
Okay, so Grandpa is being menaced by some, I called them the vaguely European gangsters, but I guess they were supposed to be neo-Nazis.
Uh-huh.
And they keep harassing him. It's really obnoxious. They keep popping up and questioning him about where his granddaughter is and all this stuff because she's the receptacle, which is... I can't even believe I'm saying that out loud. But there's a big shootout with them in the store. They're in the gun department of the store, which is just a glass case that they're pulling guns out of and shooting.
The shots of Haggerty in this scene when he is shooting, he's right next to a big sign that says, "Great ideas for Mom."
That's a very subtle joke. I like that. That's actually funny. And of course, while this shootout's taking place, the elf is running around, kind of keeping tabs on good old Kirsten. She sees him and screams and hides. And then Grizzly Adams looks and sees the elf too and hides. And she actually says to him, "I think it knows you're helping me." What?
Yeah, all of the like action scenes are definitely the least interesting in the film. But, it's an action international picture, so there's got to be a little bit of it at the very least.
AIP home video.
Yes, this and the car chase and the inexplicable car bomb later are just so... They're fun because they're totally out of place with the rest of the movie. Yeah. Or are they? I don't know. But they definitely... fill time, much like all of his good old researching, which we'll talk about that researching.
But I want more of that, and I want more of like Haggerty brushing his teeth and smoking simultaneously. Those are the scenes I live for, not so much the shootout.
His toothbrush is just made up of cigarette filters that he's tied together on a stick. I like that.
Uh-huh.
And then, there's two sad deaths in all of this shenanigans at night in the store. Of course, I'm talking about Amy, who just loves penis, getting shot in the fucking head by these vaguely European gangster Nazi guys. And I felt so bad when she died. Then, Brooke, the ditz, she gets frickin' killed by our elf. And then later, after she's dead, he bites her fingers off. But I felt so bad for these two.
Yeah. Especially the one who the elf kills.
I think it's fair to say this movie has some pretty bad gender politics going on.
What?
It's this is a movie about rape culture in some ways. Brooke has this weird scene where she's confiding in Kirsten, saying that, someone who, I can't remember exactly the context, but if she's in a situation where, like, sex is on the docket and then she doesn't want it, she would rather just go through with it rather than deal with the confrontation, she says.
Yeah, that's a creepy line.
Yeah, well, have you read that hot new New Yorker story that everybody's talking about, Cat Person?
No, I have actually heard of this.
Yeah. Well, this is, this movie, its alternate title is Elf Person. It's very similar.
You are so relevant. You are so relevant in 2017, my friend.
Yeah, when this episode is released in a year, it'll be very relevant.
No one knows we did that. The elf is out of the bag.
But anyway, we see that Brooke's notion holds true when she doesn't even complain at all when the elf wants to stab her to death, and he does.
Oh, that's bad.
Yep.
That's very bad.
Yep.
Well, what's great to me is that all of the guys who were supposed to meet them at this, like, late night department store rendezvous get locked out because of the tape shenanigans I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And they're all horrible guys.
Yes.
Like, they are horrible. Like, one guy's grabbing his dick and talking about it like his tool, and he's so mad he can't get to the girls that he's literally jumping up and down and banging on the door trying to get in. And then, luckily, he gets murdered horribly by, we don't see it happen, but like his corpse falls and his head's gashed open, which I thought was I like that like little bit.
In a way, he was murdered by hormones.
Death by horny?
Death by horn.
This Christmas, Pepsi would like to help you celebrate the holidays with a chance of winning a present from Mario in the Pepsi Nintendo Holiday Game, where you could win one of thousands of terrific Nintendo prizes, like these action sets, game packs, and best of all, the sensational new Game Boy. So hurry up and play before it's all over. Look for details on how to win your Nintendo prize wherever you see these Pepsi holiday displays.
I need some gifts for my girlfriends.
Girlfriends? How many?
I have 8.
Well, I recommend these lovely isotoner gloves. They feel great on your hand, and they're the perfect gift because one size fits all.
That's great. I'll take 9.
I thought you said you had 8 girlfriends.
Well, you never know when I might need an extra pair.
Oh, my.
Isotoner gloves, the perfect gift because they're the perfect fit. And this week only, this tote bag's yours free when you buy Isotoner gloves at participating stores while supplies last.
1, 2, 3, go. Shit. Shit indeed. You'll figure that one out in post.
He goes to the library to do some research, and it's the greatest library ever in, what's it called? Shitheadsville, Colorado or something?
Now, Richard, how do library work?
Library work by bad joke.
Oh, yeah. So he talks to this horn-rimmed librarian,
yes,
who tells him if he wants to learn anything about demonology, he needs to go to number 666 under the Dewey Decimal System. Richard, that's not true.
What?
Yeah. In fact, IMDb alerts me, and the only piece of trivia for this movie, which is a factual error, in fact, that if you wanted to look at parapsychology and the supernatural, you actually go to 130. 666 is reserved for ceramics and allied technologies.
Well, see, 130, if you multiply 1 by 3 plus 0, you get 6, and then add 660, that makes 666.
You know, you librarians really got to figure your shit out.
Well, we use the good old Library of Congress system where I work. Only the children's books are still in Dewey Decimal, which is also where we keep the satanic Christian children's books.
Yeah, we're corrupting them all through pottery.
Yes,
Satan speaks to me through the spinning wheel.
Just like Ghost.
Mommy. So how do we get to the author?
Okay, so he's reading this book, and he goes, Professor Kirkpatrick, huh? I'll find him. So he goes right to the guy's office. And he
which
gets
looks like another library.
Yes. and he gets into a little kerfuffle with the bitchy lady who works there. And he, Grizzly Adams, he just deals with her the way he deals with everyone else because he's Santa Claus. He says, hey, you have a Merry Christmas.
No, he says, I can finally say that again, he says. And then he says, I'll put you on my naughty list if you don't let me in. I could do that. I'm Santa Claus.
He said, Happy Holidays to all of you. Maybe he didn't say that.
That's how we know he's not the real Santa.
I'm so glad that we can say Merry Christmas again. I took an old steak and put some ants on it. It's called art.
So we meet this actor, and I love this actor who plays Professor Kirkpatrick. I wrote in my notes that he's a silly man, and I put an exclamation point on it because this guy is the most committed to this movie. He shouldn't be in this movie. He should be on the stage, wherever they are in Shitheadsville, Colorado, and he should be the master of Shakespeare or something. But no, he's deemed to be in Elves, and he's great.
And the master race of actor right there.
He does a huge info dump on us about the Bible and everything. It gets all the way up to the Noah story. And he starts talking about all of the, is it the crawling creatures?
Little creeping things, he says. Or idiomatically, we call them elves.
Which is a direct quote from the movie. I love that.
Yep, that is actual biblical scholarship.
Yes.
We know that the little creeping things. Oh yeah, he meant elves. Yes.
He shows him a book that has some sexy elf fan art in it.
Yeah.
With this elf manhandling a naked woman.
Yeah, I saw that same picture on DeviantArt the other day. Weird.
Was that after you went to LiveJournal?
No, Dead Journal.
Oh, Elf Journal.
Elf Journal.
What does it say on Elf Journal?
I'm going to breathe into your mouth.
Oh. He directs him to one of my other favorite useless scenes, which is he wants to know more about Nazis because, of course, Nazis believed in elves.
Excuse me, Richard, they believed in a lot of things.
Oh.
He says that, if it weren't for all the brutality, we'd just have to call Nazis crackpots. It's like, no, I mean, maybe we could just borderline say that, or no, we can just say that. Yeah.
So people who believe that the government is feeding us chemicals with those chemtrails from planes, if they were more brutal, they'd be Nazis too?
Diane, I'm really concerned about the chemtrails. Sony Pictures is putting chemicals in my coffee.
Sony? Why Sony?
That's the first thing I thought of. I couldn't think of anybody else. Poor Sony. They're do nothing but good.
Leave Sony alone.
He goes to see this other professor who's an expert on history or Nazis.
He's, quote, more up to date on the Nazis than the other guy.
He's kind of a neo-Nazi kind of guy.
Neo-Nazi head.
So he gets to this guy's house. There's a horrible joke about the maid who doesn't speak English. It's terrible. The kids are making a reference to roast beast, which I thought was fun.
Well, it's Christmas Eve dinner, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that roast beast? I was like, that's funny. Jokes, everybody, jokes. And he tells him a bunch of gobbledygook about the Nazis supposedly creating these elves to carry their master race seed or whatever.
Well, here's the thing. So he says that there are two schools of thought about Nazi belief in elves.
There's not even one school.
No, excuse me. There's two schools of thought. Number one, the Nazis wanted to corral the elves and then use them as ninja assassination squads. Now, here's the thing. Based on what we've seen in the movie so far, this is the more reasonable school of thought. Because these little fucking ninja trolls are all over the place.
Octuliber!
And so, okay, the second school of thought is that elves are a genetic engineering experiment. They're the right haploid group, and they can be used as, a vessel. Well, they wouldn't be the vessel. They'd be like the seeds of this master race.
Mm.
So yeah, this right here, the elf, that is the future that Richard Spencer and company are working towards. This is what they want. They want a society of blonde hair, melted Gary Busey.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, boy.
Beautiful.
Yep.
The elves were a genetic engineering experiment. Now, I like this one better. It mixes science and the occult. The Nazis did have some clever scientists. This was before today's technology, of course. Each elf was to house the haploid gene structure in its sperm cells to produce the master race. Once again, magical powers can't be hurt or killed. Driven to select the genetically perfect human mate, the proverbial virgin, of course, holy midnight consummation on Christmas Eve.
Wait a minute. Tonight, you mean...
The elf mates with the virgin on Christmas Eve to produce the master race, and it will eventually rule the world.
So there is one more little thing I wanted to say about the department store before we get to the very exciting reveals that are coming. After this whole shootout and murder spree that happens in the department store, the following day the detective says, "I want you to dust this entire store for fingerprints." To which my wife Leetta said, "What? What are you going to do? Arrest the entire town?"
You're all guilty.
You were all at the scene, presumably. Oh, excuse me.
You were all at the scene, presumably.
David Lynch, what are you doing?
Let's talk about incest, shall we?
I suppose we must.
Let's talk about incest, baby. It's all about you and Daddy. Ooh, sorry, guys.
So we find out why Mama Dearest hates Kirsten so much. Is because Kirsten is the product of her father raping her when she was 16. And of course, again, this movie is about rape culture. We have the grandfather then explaining it to Kirsten later by saying, "I never wanted to hurt her. I drugged her. She was unconscious. She didn't even know." So yeah, real gross. So Kirsten, of course, learns all this. She learns her true purpose in life, and she learns that her grandfather is her father. But yeah, so then how the fuck does Willie exist? Where does Willie come from?
Oh yeah, so the little brother begins to nag at the back of your mind, like, wait. So she was, made, quote unquote, for a purpose, and then he decided, what the hell? It was awesome the first time and did it again. It's weird.
I don't know.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe Willie isn't real. Maybe he's like Ferris Bueller and it's all in Cameron's mind.
Wait. Maybe Willie is the other elf.
Whoa.
Because here's the thing.
Whoa.
He's what? I know. Hold on to your butt. So in the first scene we see him in, what is he wearing?
A Ninja Turtles outfit? No.
Ninja Turtles jammies. Ninja elf, ninja troll. It all comes together. He's the other elf.
Turtle power, white power, neo-Nazis.
Diane, it's all coming together. It's like a fractal, but it's more like a diagram of a fractal.
No, I don't got anything.
It's like a fractal, but made out of shit.
It's diaractal. No.
No, I liked it. I was laughing deeply.
Like, so low only dogs could hear it?
No, so low only elves can hear it.
After stepmom reveals all, she has that moment we were talking about with the lipstick, which David Lynch blatantly ripped off for his film.
And she takes a bath.
She takes a bath, and stepmom has... I keep saying stepmom, I'm sorry. If there's no dialogue about her being stepmom, I take it back.
Yeah, we need to investigate.
She has a nude scene, and it freaked me out because I was like, the whole scene looks like this really, really bad body double moment. Not the film body double, but they actually used a body double. We only see her from behind. She has this horrible wig on, so my body double things were going off like, whoop, whoop, whoop. That's not really her. But then later we realized that really was her doing her nude scene, which I thought was great. Yeah. But I was like, why would they film it so awkwardly to make it look like it wasn't real?
Well, we're not seeing this in its real aspect ratio.
Oh, that's right. It was 178. It was in
No,
VistaVision.
this was 235.
Yes.
This was wide as
What's
hell.
The Last Jedi in? What's The Last Jedi in? It's the same thing. Same aspect ratio. Rufio. That's what I meant. Rufio.
So she's bathing to Ode to Joy.
Yes, which is so good.
She's listening to it on a tape deck. She's balancing precariously on the tub. And of course, our pervy elf friend comes in and pushes it in, electrocutes her. And there's this reaction shot of the elf. It looks like he's jerking off. It's ridiculous while she's being electrocuted.
He's got to preserve that seed, man. What the hell's he doing? God.
Hard Times Haggerty and Kirsten, who have like joined forces at this point, do like come back to the house at one point. They like peek into the bathroom and see her like toasted corpse.
Yes.
And Haggerty just goes like, "Don't worry, she'll be fine. Let's go, kids." I don't think she's gonna make it.
Those are bad lies. That's not good. So of course, they go back downstairs. Grandpa has been doing some frickin', I don't know, some weird, like, mumbo-jumbo-y shenanigans.
Some frickin' frackin'.
Oh, we haven't even talked about the elf stone. This red stone that turns red when elves walk the earth, which is important to the plot because it's there. Anything that happens in this movie is important.
No, I disagree. In fact, kind of like after this stuff, when after the car chase, I sort of fade out.
Yes, me too.
Because Haggerty leaves the movie.
What's the point?
He has this great scene where he like punches out a Nazi, which, I'm glad that this movie decides that punching Nazis is okay, because it is. He has this great scene where he asks the three most amazing sequential questions in a row, which are these. Quote, "What the hell are you, a goddamn Nazi or something? Is that elf yours? How many teeth you got?"
Oh, yes.
Those are three great questions to ask in a row.
And of course, the Nazi has a cyanide capsule in his mouth and takes the easy way out.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So they get in this big, another shootout, another brawl in the house. Frickin' Grizzly Adams gets shot, which I'm like, no! And he tells Kirsten and her brother to run for it, so they run for it.
And he says, "Go on without me. The paychecks, they ran out."
And then they did not have enough money to pay for that Haggerty.
I mean, he's not going to just work for donuts.
Donuts, cigarettes, and coffee,
Well, he won't work for donuts. I might.
The Nazi, the lead Nazi, is now chasing Kirsten and Willie out in the frickin' woods, and they go back to where she cut her hand earlier with the anti-Christmas sisters and resurrected this elf, and someone shoots the Nazi dead, and you think, oh, it's going to pan over to injured Haggerty, but no, the elf has chosen to betray this guy for some reason.
"I've discovered morality," he says between the...
Of course, there's more. Oh my God, Jeffrey! Like, if they never showed this creature, if they just showed him like peeking around things once in a while, it'd be fine. But they want to show his full motion, moving around, and so she's crawling around on the ground, and his hilarious elf legs are like stomping around.
Which again, not super mobile, but they really want to stretch that rubber to its limits.
She sends Willie back to the house. And Haggerty gives him the elf stone, tells him to go back. There's so much back and forth in this movie, you can't even believe it. Kid comes back, the elf is starting to molest Kirsten. And she's like, "No, Willie, it's okay, come here. He won't hurt you when I'm here," or something. And so he gives her the stone, and then blah-bitty-blue. The whole movie goes apeshit with the filters. And because this movie is on VHS, and not anywhere properly, come on, Vinegar Syndrome, you can do it.
Yeah, please.
These filters look horrible.
Imagine how good they look in 1080p.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's probably even more psychedelic when it's not crunched into frickin' VHS that, someone may have downloaded from the internet, not saying.
Hey, I own this legitimately on VHS.
I'm not shocked at all that you have that.
It's a collector's item, right?
I know.
I bought it from my old video store 15 years ago.
Wow. You've been sitting on this moment. The tape is probably really warm.
I have been waiting for this all my life. Since 1945.
It is recorded in SLP. That wasn't even close to a German accent. I'm sorry. I don't know what that was. Before we can get out of this story, before we can move on from this rape culture movie, it's also a homophobic movie too. Because when she finally defeats this elf by taking the crystal and doing something with it, she screams, "Take this, you little effing word, F word." Like a homosexual slur.
Right, and elves are allergic to slurs because he then explodes.
It's so weird that is it's almost the last line of dialogue in the movie. It's so weird.
No, not quite the last line.
No, not quite the last line, but it was just something she wanted to say. It was I understand that we might not always be able to interpret art properly. You know what I mean, Jeffrey?
Yeah, I know.
We're just simple, non-Aryan people.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm neither girl nor elf.
My last name might betray me a little bit. But Schmidt. Oh my God. So quick story. You're going to love this. So for a long time at the library, Nafa and I had to run around all over the Bay Area, not San Francisco Bay, but Tampa Bay, and we were filming Holocaust survivor interviews.
Did you ask them about elves?
I did not ask them about elves. They offered that information to us themselves. Themselves? Elves? Oh my God, break that word down.
Whoa.
And one guy, because we had these little forums, sign who's the cameraman, who's the interviewee, who's the interviewer, and everything. We all sign it. And the guy took one look at the form and saw that my name was Schmidt, and he went hilarious on us. He's like, "Herr Schmidt, look at your name here. Herr Schmidt, Herr Schmidt. Can you hear me, Herr Schmidt? Is the microphone working, Herr Schmidt?" The whole time we were there. It was hilarious. He had an attitude that I liked. It was fun. And he did stab me, but I deserved it. We're not Aryan enough to understand the subtleties, the complexities, the fractalities of this film, the paradigmatic fractalities of the subterfuginal meaningfulities.
Sometimes you gotta squint at the diaractals for a while before they start coming into focus.
Then just flush them away. So the coda of this movie is the forest has been burnt to a crisp, and Willie and good old Kirsten are sitting there in shock, and they're not burned or anything. They're just freaked out, and it's snowing.
Yeah, she says to Willie, "Shut the fuck up, Willie, it's snowing."
Shut the fuck up.
Maybe she doesn't say it like that, but
she says, "Shut the front door."
That's how I read it. Shut the front door, it's snowing. Hey, Richard, I'm looking outside and it's snowing.
What?
It's snowing right now. That's so weird. How could that be? I've been waiting for this all movie. All right, so I was making a joke about this earlier, but she continually brings up the fact of how much she wants it to snow. And this is the fulfillment of that the end. It's snowing. It's snowing and I'm pregnant. Oh, fuck. Does that mean I'm pregnant?
Yes, you are pregnant, sir, with an elf.
At least I know my child will be beautiful.
And very tall. After you stretch it out.
You really got to stretch out those strings.
Okay, so the last shot, of course, is this fetus in the womb and a heartbeat or something. And we take that to mean that Will Ferrell, as Elf, is the Antichrist. Wait. That's what I wrote in my notes. So that's what that means?
He's the master elf, yeah. So Elf is a sequel to this.
Yes.
Huh. But that one actually does feature multiple elves.
Oh,
I think they really fucked up the titles on these things. Because it should, like aliens with a $sign. It should be elves with a $sign.
With a $sign.
Yeah. Yeah, they screwed it up.
This is better than Ghostbusters 2, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elfbusters.
So how do you like Elves, Richard?
Well, okay. So watching this for entertainment, I like it quite a bit. Covering it for the podcast, I was getting really pissed off at the running around. And then I remembered that if I wasn't like paying attention, it would be great to go, who is this guy? Why is he going here? What's this librarian talking about? This movie does that thing that not every Christmas horror movie does, but a lot of Christmas horror movies tend to lean towards is sleaze. Because they're like, fuck it, we're being mean to Christmas.
Right.
So let's go ahead and make it like...
let's make it doity.
And doity and racist, homophobic, why not? They make it really, really dirty, and that's hilarious, especially when...
pervert the spirit of the holiday.
And I think this movie, the heart was there. Like, the dude legit wanted to tell this story, and like you said, there are jokes in here that are written into it that I think are actually pretty funny.
Right, and it's self-aware, like when Haggerty says at the library after the librarian says 666, he's like, that's gotta be a fucking joke or something.
Yes! Which I barely understood him saying.
Joke.
But yeah, this is over the top in all the wrong ways, and that's what makes it so fun to throw on. This would be, with the right company, this would be a great crowd pleaser, because this is such a you have to see this to believe it exists movie that you'll blow people's minds. They won't believe it's real until they're about halfway into it, and they're like, oh, this is real. I'm never talking to you again.
Yep. So I feel that we live in the darkest timeline because we have 5 Silent Night, Deadly Night movies, but only one Elves.
Yeah, that is true.
I love this movie. I think it's wonderful.
Elves go to college.
Yep, that's the third one. And then they go to space in the fourth. And then they go to the hood twice. I don't know why. They just really like the hood.
We do have a lot of Leprechaun movies that could have been elf movies.
True, if only they were. Yeah, I love everything about this movie. No complaints. Perfect.
Nice. Before we move on and get back to glaring at the presents under our tree, not staring, glaring, because we're angry about commercialization of the Christmas.
Well, you might be glaring. I am mouth breathing on them. I am fogging up my present.
We have a little top 5 list for you. I would like Jeffrey to go first, if you're okay with that, sir.
Yeah, do you want me to do all 5?
Yeah, go ahead and do your top 5 Christmas horror movies.
So these are actually not in order.
Oh, sure.
I can't really order them. That's tough. But these are the 5 that I'm choosing as my favorites. So one of them would be Jack Frost, which I liked as a child because, of course, I had to rent the VHS considering its lenticular cover was very appealing. And it very much still holds up today. I think it's way funnier than it probably even should be. I'd put it in league with, I think it's a good double feature with Elves. I think it's slightly goofier than this is. This is maybe a little bit, this is maybe a little bit more subtle than Jack Frost.
Yes.
But I love it. I love it. It's a great one. This bona fide classic of Christmas horror would be next, which would be Christmas Evil, aka You Better Watch Out. John Waters' favorite Christmas movie, and one of my favorites as well.
Absolutely.
It's slyly funny, but also like pretty like dark and despairing as well.
Totally.
A great one. My next one is a dual entry. because they're the same movie and they're very different movies. Black Christmas and Black Xmas.
Yes.
Yeah, I figure Black Xmas is probably on your list. Yeah, I'm guessing. One's a remake of the other. Black Christmas is, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's kind of even though it's quite early, one of the first, really, I guess. It's a kind of by the book slasher movie, but it's got just a wonderful vibe and feeling to it. And one of the best endings in a slasher movie. And Black Xmas, as all good remakes should, takes the same premise and totally twists it in an entirely different direction with a totally different tone, and winds up being a whole lot of fun because of it. That one gets a lot of shit. It shouldn't. It's great. Another one that has just a great feeling to it would be Silent Night, Bloody Night, which is way better than any of the Deadly Nights. Although I do have a fondness for Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
Mm-hmm. Garbage Day.
Garbage Day. And that movie has many good scenes other than Garbage Day. Really any scene with that one guy, which there's too few of. But Silent Night, Bloody Night is great. Very slow. There are parts of it I don't like. I don't really like any of the flashback stuff, which kind of dominates the second half. But everything else is really strong. And then a fifth entry would be Fabrice Du Wells's Calvaire, which is a Christmas movie, even though Christmas is not really a huge factor. That's one of my favorite horror movies from the 2000s. Very, very disturbing. I have two honorable mentions I will mention very briefly. I didn't include them because they're TV movies, but I love them. Home for the Holidays, which is nice. It's a nice, comforting, boring TV slasher, proto slasher with a few nice flourishes, which I think kind of set it above the pack, including a really cool look for the killer. And then another one, which was an entry in a UK anthology series. I can't remember the name of it. It was something it has murder in the title. It's called 13th Day of Christmas. I covered it on my blog way back when. Ooh. And it's just an hour long, but it's a really kind of in line with Christmas Evil, a really disturbing portrait of somebody who's super messed up, who murders his own family during the holidays. And is much more messed up than you would imagine running on television. But it did, and it's definitely worth the watch.
Ooh.
All right, that's my list.
It was a show called Time for Murder.
Time for Murder. Yeah, so you know what happens in it. A murder.
Nice. I need to see that. That sounds good.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing there.
I will.
All right, what are your 5?
Well, you definitely echoed so many things that I love. So, ditto on Silent Night, Bloody Night. I fucking love that movie. It's like a proto-slasher, giallo, American giallo, Christmas movie. Part of it because of the involvement of some Andy Warhol's factory people. It's really, really even stranger than I think they intended.
Yeah.
And I just love it from beginning to end. It has a tone unlike anything I've ever seen. Love it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Totally echo your sentiments on Black Christmas and Black Xmas. Like Brad said about Black Xmas, that he will defend it to the grave, and I will too. I don't love it better than Black Christmas. It's just so on point. Gives you everything you want and more, except for likable characters. Other than that, it's perfect.
Yeah. But that's one of the ones that does unlikable characters well.
Yeah.
Most don't. But this one just makes them so cartoonishly evil that it becomes a lot of fun.
Christmas Evil, I echo your sentiments on that as well. That is one of my favorite things to break out every year. My wife loves it too. That performance by that actor, who I heard a rumor that the actor who plays the killer Santa in that movie is, what's her face's dad? What's that singer?
Who's that songwriter? Oh my god, my brain just farted out. Completely farted out. She's not in the news anymore, so no one talks about her.
Fiona Apple. Yes. Sorry, there we go. It is actually true that Fiona Apple's dad is in that movie.
Brendan, or what the fuck?
But he's in the movie? Who is in the
He
movie?
plays the Killer Santa.
Okay.
My brain is like, I am so punchy right now. It's ridiculous. I'm like, hello?
Hello.
Brandon McGart, who plays Harry, who goes crazy, becomes the Killer Santa in Christmas Evil. That actor is the father of Fiona Apple, which I couldn't believe until I looked it up just now to confirm it. It's hilarious. Now, where's his albums? When does he sing?
Well, he writes, I think he wrote the song Criminal, right?
Yes. He also directed the video. He was the wardrobe assistant.
Don't try to make it like Elves.
Oh, God, my brain is poisoned. Okay, so another Christmas horror staple for me is Don't Open Till Christmas, which is a wonderful disaster of a movie. The director dropped out, and actor...
oh, God, I can't even... Oh, man. It's going to be a long talking.
Gotta go easy on these facts. I don't think you can do them right now.
So the original director dropped out and Edmund Purdom took over, or vice versa. And it's so silly. It's so bloody and stupid. There's people killing Santas as opposed to a Santa killing people. It's wonderful, wonderful British piece of crap that I just love. I can't thank Mondo Macabro enough for putting that out.
Yeah.
So one that I love, which I don't know why I love, it might be your fault because you have destroyed my mind with the movies you've been picking over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So you can take credit for this. I love Silent Night, Deadly Night 3.
Oh, really?
That movie is so fucking stupid. It has this like fake Jennifer Connelly lady in it. You got Bill Moseley who says 3 words in the entire movie. You got the dude with crazy curly hair from Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a mess, but a wonderful, entertaining shit festival.
See, that one's like my least favorite in the series.
I love it.
Even though it's got like the best cast, and even though it doesn't have Mickey Rooney, like
it also has another guy from Twin Peaks in it too.
And Laura Harring's in it too.
Dude, it's when Simon and I were talking about Twin Peaks a while back. We kept coming back to Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, and I was like, that's when my love for it really started to dawn on me. And it's just, it's so comforting and shitty. I love it. Like, I don't think it's good. I'm not recommending it, but it's just so specifically stupid.
Well, it's directed by Monty Hellman too, who's a good director, which I guess is why I dislike it so much, because I expected more from him.
What else did Monty Hellman do? I don't recognize that.
Two-Lane Blacktop,
wow.
Shooting, Ride the Whirlwind.
Oh, like real movies.
Yep.
Wow, poor guy.
Yep. Not real movies at that point in his career.
Yeah, Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, better watch out. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Whew, so
good. I like kind of like 4 and 5 though.
Oh yeah, 4.
Okay.
I haven't seen 5.
5 is the one with Mickey Rooney making like a Pinocchio.
I've seen the trailer for that. I've never seen that movie. I have seen 4, and it's so weird. It's like 4 feels like you fell asleep during the movie and woke up and didn't know what was going on, but you were awake.
4 is like not even a Christmas movie. It's a Brian Yuzna movie, so it's a lot like it's kind of like a low rent Society. Like it's not as good, but it's doing a lot of the same stuff.
If I have to give some honorable mentions, of course, I want to talk about David Hess directed To All a Good Night, which is such stupid slasher garbage that's so beautiful. That Blu-ray is awesome, and it just because that movie was unwatchable on VHS because it was so dark, and it's still a dark ass movie. Don't get me wrong, but at least you can see what's going on now, and what's going on is fun, character-driven weirdness, and I really enjoy that. I guess the last honorable mention is Dead End, which is good old... God, speaking of Twin Peaks people...
is that with Ray Wise?
Yes, Ray Wise is in it.
I didn't know that was a Christmas movie. I haven't seen it.
It is totally a Christmas movie. It's the plot, you'll figure it out in the first 5 minutes. It's one of those, oh, twist-a-roos that is totally bullshit. But it's really, really weird, really, really fun with the character interaction, and it's made by French people.
Another French one, Deadly Games, is all right. That's like the extreme Home Alone.
I was trying to remember that movie. I don't remember who I was talking to, but that movie looks really interesting. I read a really good review of it, but I haven't pulled the trigger to watch it yet.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It came out the same year as Home Alone, and it's fairly similar with a kid setting up traps to kill like a homeless Santa Claus. It's got some interesting class politics going on in that one.
Just like the rape culture in Elves.
Exactly. These films comment upon society. Another good recent one that I watched fairly recently, P2. I like that one.
Oh yes, that was one of my other. I might have thrown that in there. P2.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
I watched it while making a puzzle and drinking wine, which is the best way to watch a movie.
There's a lot you don't have to pay attention to in that movie.
Yes.
But yeah, no, highly recommend P2. Man, good call. Well, folks, I can hear Santa's elf deer on the roof. On the elf.
No, those are just elf feet scampering down your cheek.
And see what anyone put in my Christmas elfing on the fire elf.
I keep my elves in the stocking.
They're so cute that way.
Yeah, they are. You can see the stocking like rising and falling with their breath.
Yeah. I like it when my elf watches me in the bath and is subtly masturbating.
So nothing subtle about it.
Well, it's tiny, so I don't see the movements. Anyway.
What's tiny?
Merry Christmas, everybody. And, this movie's dirty. I loved it.
Richard, shut the fuck up. It's snowing.
I'm sorry. Is that a song? Shut the fuck up. It's snowing?
I'm gonna need you to be quiet. It's snowing.
Hello, This is the Doom Show is a proud member of the Legion Podcast Network. Please check out the other shows at legionpodcasts.com. If you want more of Hello, This is the Doom Show, check out doomedmoviethon.com or hellodoomedshow.podomatic.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at doomedmoviethon or email the show doomedmoviethon@gmail.com. We're also in the air. Look up.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Maddie.
Do you like horror movies?
I sure do.
Well, did you know that most horror movies are inspired by real-life horror?
Really? Like what?
Well, take The Shining, for instance. That's based on Stephen King's real-life addictions, or The Purge, which could be our country any minute now.
Oh, and The Strangers, which is based on a real-life murder. People should be talking about these things.
Hey, guys.
Oh, hey, Producer Michael.
Hi.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but somebody already is. It's you.
That's right. We are Friday the 13th, the podcast where we talk about horror in real life and horror in media, all from an LGBTQ perspective.
Because we gay, y'all.
We are proud members of the Legion Podcast Network, and we can be found on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or wherever your favorite podcasts are found.
And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Come along with us on this crazy journey, and as always,
get slayed.
This'll keep it quiet. Oh, hi there. I didn't see you. You caught me cutting a new show. I'm Bo Ransdell, and I'm one of the many creators you can find on Legion Podcasts. I said quiet! My fellow podcasters and I work hard to bring you the best in horror podcasting, but that comes at a cost.
Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Not that, but also yes. No, what I'm getting at is that there are server costs, costs for good microphones and software for editing, all the things that make our shows, fun to listen to. And you can help. If you're enjoying the shows on legionpodcasts.com or in the Legion Network available on iTunes and Stitcher, just about anywhere you can download a podcast, really, you can help us out and get a little something for your trouble at patreon.com/Legion Podcasts. For just $2 a month, you get a pair of movie commentaries exclusive to Patreon, and for $5, you can also join us for a monthly screening of a movie. All of that available on patreon.com/Legion Podcasts. We appreciate it, and thank you for listening. Now, back to the cutting room.
Hey, Paul, what I was thinking is that we need to cut a promo.
Yeah, I've been working on some ideas. It's just, I don't really know where to go with it exactly. What if I got like a filter where we could just kind of talk normally and we can have kind of a script, but then I can like filter it so that one of us will have one kind of voice and then one will have the other.
I want to put my request. Make me as Freddy Krueger. Can you do that?
Maybe instead of the voices, what if we tried to like write a skit, develop a whole thing, and we have a backstory? But I don't know. That might be kind of too long. So
like screeching cars and explosions and fireworks and
yeah. Well, what about?
I like it.
Maybe instead of doing a filter, we could just like reach out to Robert Englund himself, and maybe he can just record a promo for us sometime. Do you think? I mean, we might have to like raise some money.
We can do a Kickstarter, and we could just throw it out to like Robert Englund and just all kinds of actors, and I think people will do that.
I think.
Sure, why not?
Well, you know what? I don't know. Maybe we're overthinking this whole thing. How about if we just tell people where to find us?
I like that.
You can find us at Who Will Survive on iTunes, Stitcher, on the Legion Podcast Network, and on the Raw Live and Unedited Podcasting Network. Also on Facebook and Instagram under the same name.
Oh, wait. Can we do it underwater with piranhas killing me?
That would kind of be brutal.
And if that doesn't work, then you can do the regular promo.
All right. Well, just get in the water and I'll go get some fish.
All right, cool.